we believe that data is valuable, so I'll capture it all first, and then later I'll figure out what I want to do with it because I only have that moment. We also know from a lot of cases that it's not only when you capture data, but it's also when you should or should not use data. And so kind of a funny story, I was talking to a restaurateur in New York City, and a very data-driven one. And, you know, it was just kind of like, I was like, how do you apply your data? You have a CRM system, you know everybody that comes into your restaurant, you know every time how much they ordered. How does that change the dining experience? And he pushed down this idea. He said, it's a lot about restraint. We may understand a lot, but there also need to be leaders who say, this is not something we want to use. And so as an example, he's looking in the dining room, and a relatively new server walks up to a table. And I guess he was happy because it was the first time he ever noticed one of his tables came back. It was a repeat guest. Right. CRM system backed it up. So he goes out, oh, hello, Mr. So-and-so. Great to see you both again. Now the wife looks up at the server and says, I've never been here before. Now, we're walking through the possibilities. Like, well, let's see how this can go. He's like, first of all, the wife is upset, so she's going to have a terrible meal. Second is, now they're both going to have an awkward meal. Third thing is, even if he was here for, let's say, a business lunch, he's never going to come again because this thing can never be on a credit card receipt. So we just lost a customer. And what did we have to gain? What would have happened if they were like, oh, thank you for welcoming us back? Would they have actually spent more money, felt more connected? Maybe. Or did we just try to use data in a way? And so he said, oftentimes you have to balance that risk and reward, that just because you can capture it, just because you can ask it, you may not know how to use it in the right way. And so it always starts really with that first question, which is when I'm working with companies, I say, let's not start with collecting data because it's there or because we implemented a CRM system. Let's start with that hypothesis. What do we think is happening? What do we think we could change? How do we think our customers are responding, or what questions do our customers have? And then you go and say, do we have the data to understand it? And if we don't have the data, can we capture it? But more importantly, here's the third question. So you have the hypothesis, you have the data. The third question is, what would we do differently if we knew this, if we could study it, if we could answer this question? If you don't have that action, then why go through the process of collecting data for it? Why go through the process of examining something? And so generally, if you are able to tie together that question to that action, then it makes sense. But going back to that original point, I think too many companies are just like, we'll collect,